Away we go. It's time for another edition of the Lazy Gardeners with Bobby Jensen right yonder.
That'd be me.
And then you got your BT Brian
That'd be
Turner
you.
right here.
That'd be you.
And to dispel the image that the Lazy Gardeners is all about older guys, and older guys, and older folks in general.
Lazy
I don't
older.
even know what I'm saying with the median age of here's young and here's old. I don't know what that line is, that demarcation line. I'm just saying to dispel the image that it is for the upper demos
I
of
love
the
it
world.
when you shoot off into
Do you
outer
like that?
space like
Upper
this.
demos.
Okay, and we are.
And we are. We'll
So
admit to
where's
that.
the demarcation line?
I have no idea, but we got a young lazy gardener with us in
We
the studio,
do
and I
have a
couldn't be
young
more
one.
excited. What's going on, Darian?
Nothing.
Nothing.
What do you mean
gee,
nothing?
Nothing.
What did you do so far today?
Nothing.
You don't remember? Oh, it did happen almost an hour ago.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
We
that's
went to
tough.
Stillwater
Yeah.
What'd you do?
and ate.
Ate some food?
Watch the bridge go up.
Watched the bridge go up.
Did you
That
guys
was
watch
cool.
a little bit of that construction going on? Awesome.
Whoa, that bridge is wild.
Oh, yeah. that thing.
He asked, why is it so high? Because it's going from like plateau to plateau.
Nah, that was my mom.
Oh, no, that's not why, Bobby. It's not why.
Why?
It's because they have the pirate ship at Smalley's Caribbean Barbecue, and the tall masts on
Has
that
to
thing
go
have to
under it.
have enough room to get under there. Those pirate ships, when they're coming in on the St. Croix, when they're
We had a
making
paddle boat. We had a
when
paddle
they're
boat.
making a landing there in Stillwater, they never could pass underneath the old bridge, but now they'll be able to make their way in there. Arr.
Pretty cool.
That's
huh?
why it's so tall.
So
That's what I'm saying.
While we were sitting there and I was having a mojito, I thought today
I bet you were.
we should talk about cocktail gardening.
I love this
Isn't that
idea.
good? I mean, sometimes you just need to have a cooling
Nice.
summer drink.
Nice sound effects there,
And
Bobby J.
I think we'll talk about, besides our garden, Darian is going to tell us all about his garden,
Nice.
which is at my house, right? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. What do you got in your garden?
Tomatoes,
Nice.
basil, cilantro,
Yeah, that's it.
and that's it.
That's it.
Well, that sounds like a good
How's our tomatoes
salsa
are going
mix
pretty
there.
good. Oh,
That's it, baby.
we need the basil to make, a little Italian
A little Italian
stuff,
thing.
man.
Yep, you got the cilantro.
We
if you
got the
decide to go
tomatoes because we
salsa-like.
make the salsa.
Yeah,
It was a very
yeah.
specific garden this year, right?
Are you
What's the best thing you like about gardening?
Planting the seeds.
Yeah, you don't like picking them and eating it?
That too.
the cause and effect?
Right.
You're darn right.
But he does it right from the beginning.
That's so cool. So
Pulls
when
the weeds, right?
so when you say planting the seeds, Darian, when did you get the seeds started? Then did you do some indoor seeds, or what was the deal there? Did you get started in March or April, or how did it work out for you this year?
Well, actually, we didn't do seeds. We took them when they were already grown.
Okay.
And then put them in.
So you got them in at that. when
But
they're
didn't you
little
just
stems.
plant seeds at your what do you go to now? What do you do?
Cultivating a green thumb.
Yeah. Didn't you just plant seeds there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what'd you do?
We had to put the soil in, then bury them in a certain height or something.
Depth.
Yeah.
And what kind of seeds did you plant?
I have no idea.
What do you mean you have no idea? You said they were coming up. They were already 2-3 inches up.
All I know is I planted some sort of lettuce.
That's
and
okay. That's an idea.
That's all I remember.
And some you learned, I guess, some seeds you have to plant a little deeper. Some seeds you plant a little shallower, right? They have a certain desired planting depth, I guess, is what we would say.
It would be true. Usually about 2.5 times the size
The
of the
size
seed.
of the seed. Okay, so if you got a teeny little
So it
seed,
goes in a little bit.
and if you got a little bit bigger seed,
goes a little
bit
deeper.
deeper. That's
Amazing, isn't it?
That's a pretty good rule of green thumb, as the case would
It
be
is a
here
good rule.
on the Lazy Gardeners. Bobby, you should explain who young Darian is.
Young Darren is my grandson.
Get out! Wait a minute. This is your grandfather?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel really sorry for you.
Tell him how lucky you are.
Oh my goodness, young man.
Tell him I
geez.
should tell him how lucky you are.
No.
Oh. You're not lucky?
I'm so
am.
Oh,
lucky.
you darn well better say that, kid.
so
Because it's a
lucky.
long walk to my house from here. You'll be hitchhiking home.
That garden is a long way away.
Only if I had a walking stick.
If you had and you know what? If you had a Fitbit, you could just gauge how many of those you were doing
Exactly.
there. Well, that's pretty cool, dear. And you do. I love your grandpa here. He's one of my best pals, and I was just joking, completely joking. Well, mostly joking. Well, about 50.
Sort of
about 25%.
one or two
About 25% joking about I feel sorry. But 15% joking about feeling bad for you. And so that's just cool. So whose kid is Darian in the Bobby Jensen family mix?
My youngest daughter, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Lizzie.
Yes, Lizzie.
They live in Wisconsin, but they're coming back.
Is that right?
They're coming home.
Are you hanging like for the weekend here or a week or what are you doing?
4 days.
Nice, sweet. Do you
But
have
then
your
they're
own?
coming back.
Oh, they're going to move back to
They're
the
gonna
area.
move back to the
Pretty
area.
cool. Where are you living now in Wisconsin, Darian?
Eau Claire.
Yeah, and so where do you know where you're going to be living back here in the Twin Cities area? Do you have a house picked out yet?
No, but we know. We're living in Eden Prairie.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh,
area.
really? And where were you living before you moved to Eden Prairie?
At Poppy's house.
That's okay, fine. Are you going to have? Do you know the house? Are you going to have your own garden plot there too, and then one
don't
also at
know.
Poppy's house? No, you'll figure that out though as you get along. I bet you will because it sounds like you're really into the gardening thing. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I like the eating part. I like the planting part. I like all the parts like you do. They're both really fun.
a pretty good
all of them
weeder.
are pretty fun. Are you?
Here's a pretty good weed. He likes to weed.
Get on
Which
in there
is
and keep it
The
clean.
thing you should teach your youngins to weed.
Absolutely.
No question.
Pop- Poppy, I'm going to stand up in my chair right now, okay? Give me a second.
Here he goes. He's up.
What am I doing? I'm genuflecting because apparently you
Yes.
taught the young grasshopper well.
Yes.
When it comes to the weeding narrative, I'm bowing.
He
before
understands
you.
weeding.
I'm bowing and genuflecting before
Right,
the
Bubba?
one,
Right?
Poppy,
Yeah.
Bobby Johnson.
Because you got to weed. You can't let the weeds grow.
Heck no.
No.
Even though your grandpa will say to Belinda, his Grow with Care pal on the Channel 11 TV station, if it looks
leave the
okay and it's a
weeds.
weed, yeah, leave it. If you like, if it looks fine,
In
leave
the
it.
grass, I'm not big on weeding grass.
And, yeah, I know. And then
Gardens,
and then
maybe.
Belle's all, no, we gotta tear those out.
She's got a
Get
beautiful, pristine
those
lawn.
out of there. Yeah, what is that? A Mohawk carpet out there, or is that grass? What do you got? What do you got there?
All right, well, I'm getting thirsty, so let's.
All right.
We need to figure this out. So, what's your favorite summertime drink?
You just had one.
Oh man,
You just
mojito.
had one. You just had one.
So
That's my
the
favorite summertime
main
drink.
ingredient. Well, not the main ingredient, but you need mint.
You got to have the mint.
So mint, and the thing with mints is there's different types, the different types of mint. So
Yeah.
you can add all different types of things that you can do. Plus, you can do. We were just there, and they were having a mojito with basil.
Oh, nice. And I've
know?
had those too, and
Yeah,
those are
you can
tasty.
have that. That's
yeah.
tasty. So you can grow mint. You can grow basil. You can grow chives, cilantro, cucumbers.
Yeah.
A nice gin with a couple of slices of cucumber floating on
And
top.
you know what else is great? Is that cute just to have around the house too. Cocktail notwithstanding, just a nice jug of water with some
With
cucumber.
cukes in
Just
it?
just
Sure.
a couple of nice slices floating in there. It just adds such a nice flavor, summertime flavor to it.
And then another thing is jalapeno hot peppers.
Oh God, yeah.
Anything you can whip up in the summer, you can slice up a jalapeno and add a little bang
little
to it.
oomph
A
to
little
your cocktail.
bada bing right in there.
Where we go, baby.
You know, and then lemon verbena, lemon balm, all of these things are easy to grow. And if you make a cocktail garden, your bartender's right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You put a couple chairs around it, a little table out there, and you're able to pick as you go right along.
So let me ask you, and let's
What?
put it out here for our lazy gardener listeners. So any of these, we can do a nice little cluster of clay pots right next to the door.
You could do that.
You know, we could do some trough type gardening.
A,
in longer
strawberry
pots,
pot?
a strawberry pot.
You know,
yeah.
where you could have 8, 10 different plants coming out
or
the sides.
where they're coming out the sides like
Yeah,
that.
you
Right.
could do all of those
Those are
things,
really pretty
'cause,
cool.
You know, anything that you would like, and you know this, B, anything you would like to add to it, well, if you like it, stick it in a drink. I mean, a mojito's what? Sugar, club soda, and
And
vodka.
the rum, or the rum is
Or the
case.
rum.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're right. Vodka, rum. So there, and any garnish that you want to put in there, whatever you like. It's up to you.
But you bring up the vodka aspect of it. That isn't necessarily a traditional mojito, but
But
makes
people
a great
are doing that now.
makes a great drink too. And you muddle something down there and
Some lemon
add
balm
to it.
and a lemonade and vodka. Mm-hmm. What's the name of this show?
It's called the Lazy Gardeners.
Oh, I
for a
thought it
reason.
was
The cocktail hour?
The cocktail hour with Brian and Bob.
Yeah, away we go. We should have had some of that 1950s cocktail music going in the background. But
leather seats.
we're on a limited budget.
We
here.
are.
Yeah,
Still.
we are. So we can do them in the clay pots. We can do them in any kind of pots. The strawberry pots. You could also find a nice little plot that is, outdoors in the ground and close to that back door or that sliding glass
You
door.
don't want to, because after a while you really can't walk far to get them.
Yeah, you got to be close by. I
Right.
think with any kind of herb garden, kitchen garden, or cocktail garden in the case here with the bartending.
And you can almost do square foot gardening. You can pack them in really well.
Oh, see,
they
that's a
don't
really
really
great idea.
have to be spread out. You can pack herbs in around and amongst themselves. And, again, pick them early in the morning when it's nice and cool. You don't want to do it in the heat of the day. And don't let them go to seed. There's no reason. Cut those flowers off. Cut the seeds off.
So as those are springing up, just get in
Lose
there
them.
with your scissors or your garden shears, sharp scissors.
Sharp,
you want to make sure
always.
that you make a nice clean cut, no
and
matter what
some
you're doing.
people say bring out, a little vinegar and water and dip them in so you're not spreading disease. But if you've got a healthy garden, I rarely do that.
So let's talk about this because you brought up, I love square foot gardening. I think
do.
it's awesome. I mean, you can get a 3 foot by 3 foot garden going here.
And you get a lot out of it.
And essentially, if you're talking square foot gardening, you're going to get 9 different garden plots. You just do the simple math, 3 by 3. So you surround an area with 3 foot boards, and by that I mean 3 foot long. Make them about a foot high. If you can get some 18-inch boards, even a little better. So you do that. You don't want to use treated boards. You just want to.
No, you don't. There's some. I mean, that came from arsenic treated stuff back in
but
the
then
day.
I've got the lighter AC2 treatments and things like that are way better.
You could. I would stay away. Cedar's a great one.
Cedar's a great one. A little more expensive,
but it lasts forever.
Well, it lasts for a good while. I'll tell you that much. Because cedar eventually it'll rot out too.
From experience.
Yes. Oh, I've had the experience. Yes, I have. But you will get a good 8 to 10 years out of those cedar boards,
Exactly.
and they'll hold up pretty well. Yeah. But you just make that square, and then do some really nice amended soil.
Compost, a lot of compost.
Yeah. And then what you want to do is stretch what I'd say is an inch or 2 inch wide series of slats across the boards in a crisscross, in a crosshatch fashion. So what you've done is actually created then your 9 essentially
areas.
Foot by foot areas, and then it gives you this really nice delineated planting area. You can do your mint in the middle, or you can do your lemon verbena in the middle. It's a little bit taller plant. That's probably a good middle one. Get some of those minties going on the 4 corners, maybe 4 different kinds of mint.
Sure.
On each
chocolate
corner.
mint. There's so many different kinds.
So many different kinds. So you got your mojito thing going on, and then put whatever else you want to in the mix of it. You could put some strawberries in one of those spots, because strawberries muddled in with mint in one of those vodka drinks is also really good. I mean, you get a nice berry thing going on there. So,
and then the new ones that I've been reading about is pallet gardening.
So pallet gardening.
Well, you take a pallet.
So okay,
you
you're
clean
talking
it
an
up,
old
a real
pallet.
pallet.
Okay, gotcha.
And you clean it up and you plant in the slots.
Wow, I hadn't thought of that.
And
okay.
then you've got no weeds. You've got perfect spacing. Piece of cake.
I'm trying to visualize
because you
this
really
now.
don't know, unless you know where it came from. You want to scrub it down and get any residue off.
Oh, of course.
But just think about the slots that are in a pallet garden. They're about 2-3 inches wide. Plant the plant right in there.
So what you're going to do is you're going to lay that pallet down. It's about
could be on your raised bed.
It's about 4 inches high, 5 inches high. Okay, it's got strong side slats.
Push it down into the soil.
Push it. Oh, just get her down in there.
Get her down,
and then slide some more soil in there as you need to. Okay, and then make sure that cavity is filled with soil. I see where you're coming from now. And then just
plant right
in the slats, and then that gives you a nice little handhold.
Perfect spacing,
because
right?
because that pallet then is built solid. It needs to be. Right. So if you're leaning down on one of those middle boards to reach in and weed
for that
or
older clientele, the older listener,
I need to reach in there and get my mojito.
Like Darian wouldn't have to worry about it.
You wouldn't have to
worry
about it.
Crawl around, right?
The lower demo, the younger demo would not have to worry.
No.
Well, and in that case, he could get his feet in there, and
he could probably walk through it.
Probably walk through it. I love that pallet idea. And, those things, like you said, they're sturdy. You make sure you clean them up real good.
And they're everywhere. And they're usually free.
Absolutely. God, you
so
see them all the
that's it.
time.
So,
Free pallets, free fire. Usually it's a free firewood sign, but it's free pallets is what they're talking about.
But no, that's another good way of doing it. But getting back to square foot gardening, like you say, you just figure it out. You figure the squares out. You can actually look up what can go next to what plant, so that it's called compatible gardening.
Yep.
Like tomatoes love onions and things like that.
Yep.
You'll have something that keeps the bugs away from another plant
Yeah.
while it's growing. So you put very little research into it.
Sure.
And you can have a really bug-free, wonderful garden with no weeding.
And critter free, like
No
you mentioned.
weeding, nothing.
You have the
Nothing.
onions there.
Yeah.
You're going to keep a lot of those critters
Onions,
away
chives,
because
all of that stuff.
they don't like being around that stuff.
Well,
at all.
it confuses them. That everybody thinks it chases them. Well, it doesn't chase
It's
them.
just an olfactory thing. Yeah, they get all.
It masks the scent of the plant they're trying to go to.
Yep, and they just what? I'm
They say,
confused.
I don't like
you know
onions.
what?
You like onions, D?
I'm giving up on
No.
this.
You don't like onions?
What?
What kind of bug are you?
Are you sure you're Bobby Jensen's grandson? You don't like,
Like
onions, young man?
Jeez.
I don't like onions.
We're gonna have to talk to Mama Lizzie about this. I think.
What do you like? I know macaroni and cheese.
Hey, Darian, let me ask you this. If the onions are cooked a little bit, sautéed, so they become a little sweeter, do you like them then? Because my son Cosmo, he's 22 years old now, so I'm hip to what you're laying down here, young man. I'm cool to your scene. Do you know what I'm saying? I know the lingo of the youngsters. I've been out on the playground more than several times in my life, okay? Just follow along here, young
I
man.
wish
Just
we
follow
had
along.
television just to see the expression
I know
on his face.
It couldn't be more filled with dullness right now, just listening to me. So anyhow, Darian, what I'm saying is, Cosmo, when he was your age, 8, going on 32, he did not like the onions, and now with the cooked ones and in recipes, he's getting a little more hip to the onions. So what I'm saying here, young man, just be open to new experiences.
I read a thing because Phyllis doesn't. My wife, Grandma Phyllis, doesn't like raw onions, like in her salad.
Right.
I read a thing. You take them, you slice them long, like in a strip.
Yep.
Put it in a microwave for like 10, 15 seconds.
Yep.
It takes out that harshness
Yep.
and gives them that nice, smooth flavor without sautéing them.
Yep, because it's doing the same thing. That little bit of heat
breaking it down,
is
right.
actually it's a chemical process, taking those essential oils and turning them into a different thing, a different chemical. It's splitting the chemical compound into smaller units that are less volatile.
Wow, we got chemistry, we've got alcohol, we got it all
going on here.
We got little short people in the studio.
So we kind of left off with mojitos, though. So let's think
right.
of some other cocktails that with the garden out there that we could spin in there.
Staying in the mint family, we probably could have a mint julep,
A mint julep would be out
which
there.
is sugar cube and a simple sugar,
Yeah, absolutely. And you
whiskey and bourbon and a couple of mint leaves.
there you go. So
know?
that's another one.
And you do need a muddler.
Yeah, gotta
Let's
have
be
a muddler.
realistic.
Yeah.
You got to have a muddler. But I mean, think about something like fresh strawberries could be used in almost anything.
Oh, you got me.
Champagne.
Yeah, in champagne.
In Prosecco, instead of buying, something, like maybe I shouldn't say this out loud, but the other day on the show, we were celebrating everybody's vacation, and shockingly, a bottle of Prosecco showed up.
What?
I couldn't believe it myself. And instead of buying some juice to add to it, you can muddle in some
Sure.
nice, beautiful blueberries, strawberries, anything, any berry you can get, raspberries.
Yeah.
And then just add the Prosecco to it. Ooh.
So let me ask you this, because what's your favorite summer cocktail, garden
I
cocktail?
think I got to go along. I mean,
With
if it's
mojito?
two, pretty much, a mojito or dark and stormy.
All right, gotcha. So here's my second favorite.
What?
Is a great jug of sangria. And
Well,
so
yeah.
and now we're getting to that fruit thing again. So
There you go.
you got some strawberries going in the garden. Maybe you got a little blueberry patch going somewhere in
There
your
you
garden.
go.
Might not be in the cocktail garden. That sort of immediate. I need to go out and clip some mint part of the garden, but that's fine.
That's okay.
Maybe you got a nice little blueberry strawberry
You got a
patch
patch.
going on somewhere. So you got those two. You're going to the farmer's market, and all you're going to do is pick up some nice cantaloupe or honeydew melon or something like
can
that.
grow- you can
And
grow
you can grow
those.
those too.
You can
But I'm
grow
just saying,
those.
if all you have room for is that cocktail
Right.
garden, we're
You
going to
can go out-
supplement it with some easy buys.
Right.
So you're going to buy that, and you're going to get some nice, white wines. If you're doing a red one, you'd get the red wines. But you're going to do a nice sangria where you pour all those wonderful wines in with all those great fruits. Let them schmurgle. That's our term.
Schmurgle. Right, it's a horticultural term.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, let them schmurgle for a good overnight in the refrigerator, and those juices start coming out of the fruit and making their way into the whole wine mix, and everything's just lovely.
Oh, it's just, and it is a refreshing drink.
Oh, I love a great sangria.
And I think that's what you need. I mean, you really can't, as you know, bourbon is nice, and bourbon's real hot right now.
Mm-hmm.
But to come home and sit outside when it's 90 degrees and have a bourbon, as good as that might feel, not as good as having a mojito or something refreshing.
Yeah.
I mean, I do iced teas. I mix a lot, vodka and iced tea, unsweetened iced tea with vodka, and then you could add any of those things that we talked about. You can muddle them in there to give it a little bit of flavor, give it a little, like you said, fruits. You can think about fruits. Watermelon. What a fabulous way to use a plant, a vegetable, a fruit.
Yeah.
Chop up some watermelon and use that, man.
And put those in your sangria
Soak
as well.
your watermelon. Remember when we used to cut the little triangle out and pour a bottle of vodka in a watermelon?
Put your own personal bunghole, as it
There you
would
go.
be, right
Yes.
in that watermelon,
And then fill it up.
And
Let
just
it
let
sit
that
overnight.
rascal sit there.
Gee,
Sure.
did we know each other in
We-
another
we-
life?
We may have
We
crossed
may have
paths
crossed
along
paths,
the
you
way,
don't know,
yeah, in
'cause-
certain field parties.
Because you could take that watermelon anyway. It's just a watermelon.
What are you looking at? It's just a melon.
Officer.
It's just a melon.
just a watermelon.
Everything's fine. So, yeah, you can get those bad boys growing in the yard. Again, might not be in that nearby the back kitchen door type of garden setting, but you're going to have it somewhere in the yard. And that's an easy thing to integrate into any garden,
and
too. I mean, those
usually-
vegetables or those fruits, and I'll just add vegetables.
Right.
What,
The herbs are so easy to grow.
Guess what I'm getting at is get yourself out of that traditional way of thinking that when it comes to a vegetable or fruit garden, it has to be in that sort of rectangular paradigm with things in rows and everything laid out. And you made a good point, Bob, is that you can plant things next to each other just with a little bit of compatible gardening research. In the bigger part of your garden, even in your flower garden, even in this that's more traditional in that flower sense, and get some of those fruits and those veggies woven into those places. Just remember where you got them. There's the green beans are there. You got this. You got the watermelon going here.
Take alyssum, put it around the edge.
you
Alyssum
go.
brings in beneficial wasps and things like that to attack
Exactly.
your aphid.
get
You'll
the
have
critters,
you have a beautiful free garden.
Yeah. So just
Bug-free garden.
Think about weaving, some of the things that we're mentioning here. Even the mint, again, you don't have to do something that's next to the kitchen door. Although that's the way I'm thinking about this cocktail garden. Is that it's a little close by.
Well, it's also cocktail/culinary.
Culinary,
too.
yeah. So the herb
Because
garden
it
for
should
the
be
kitchen.
near the kitchen.
Yep.
It
Yep.
should be near the door.
So there is that. But if you don't have that sort of setting or what have you, but you do have other garden areas going out in your landscape and in your garden, think about weaving those plants just into that landscape and making them a part of it, as opposed to thinking that they have to be in some sort of traditional planting.
We'll
way.
probably do a show one of these days on edible gardens.
Oh yeah,
The
things.
people are putting kale, beautiful kale in your garden bed where you would have put an annual or
Right.
perennial before,
And you're eating it.
and you're eating it. And I say this all the time. One of my favorite things to put, when you're doing a pot, there's the thriller, spiller, filler. And some of the fillers that I've used have been curly parsley.
Yeah.
Deep, rich green, gorgeous looking leaf. And it's something totally unique to put in there. And at the end of the summer, snip, snip, and you got yourself some great parsley.
You're eating away, absolutely.
eating away.
Those nice little sprigs, those nice little green sprigs that come off those onions that you're going to make
Yep.
and that you're going to eat. They're another nice filler plant. I mean, just got a deep,
There's
dark green. It does a nice backdrop. If you have some smaller, let's say lesser height flowers in front of it, and you just want a nice green border on the back, all those could be table onions.
And the thing is, you don't have to do, a stupid spiky thing, some geraniums in the middle, and some vinca hanging over the edge. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
You can do so much more with so many different things. I mean, there's no rules anymore. They used to be kind of like, this is what you got to do.
Yeah.
Now there's no
That's
rules.
what I'm seeing. Break the rules. I'm going to say one of my favorite border plants is leaf lettuce.
There you go.
You know, so I mean, you can border an entire flower garden
Gorgeous.
with leaf lettuce, and you know, when you're whacking that stuff down and eating it, it's going to continue to grow back. So you're going to have this continual nice border there that'll always be regenerating. Perfect front drop and a border drop for all those beautiful flowers that you might have in any given bed. So again, you're putting the two together.
And I really think what the point you're making is, one, do anything you want.
Yeah.
It really, if you put your stuff together, if it looks good, and it doesn't matter what plant it is, whether it's a perennial, annual, vegetable, it really doesn't matter. What matters is how it comes across and how it looks.
Yeah, and if you know, and obviously you can get pictures no matter where you're at on your smartphone.
Oh.
So if you're at the garden shop and you want to tell, do I have these seeds at home, or if I've got some of these plants? I mean, you can start doing your visual compatible gardening just by okay, well, I can't remember what an alyssum looks like when it's all blah blah blah.
Seriously.
So oh, that's right, that alyssum's going to look great here. I'm going to get some of these leaf lettuce or whatever to put here, and it's all going to come together.
Are we
It's all
boring him? I think
well, you know what? I wanted to direct the latter few minutes of the Lazy Gardener show back at young Darian here, because
Go
what
for
I'm
it.
really curious about. So you mentioned you got the tomatoes, you got the basil, and you got the cilantro.
And we have kale.
You got
I
some
just
kale too?
remembered that.
Nice.
You're right. I forgot. Way to go. We got kale.
You got some kale.
We've been eating kale.
Oh man, I never used to like kale a whole lot, but if you make that just right, that is a delicious dish. I love kale now.
And we bought a 6-pack, because we walked in the store and he said, "Oh, I want that one." It was a 6-pack of different types of kale.
Kale, yeah.
I don't even know what the names of some of these are, and some of them are, like you think of kale and you think of like thick and heavy. These are so nice and light and wonderful tasting.
Oh,
I love
cool.
kale. The only thing I don't like is kale chips. You like kale chips?
See, I love
Never
the
had
kale
'em.
chips.
Yeah, that's why, because you're in my house. You ain't
Oh
getting it.
yeah, man! I'm going to make you some kale chips using
Yeah.
my spicy rub, my spicy
Okay.
stuff. I think you'll like them then. So what I want to ask you: you got the kale, you got the cilantro, you got the basil, you got the tomatoes. Do you have a collection of tomatoes that are both like a plum-oriented tomato and then some of the more like beefsteak kind of eater tomatoes? Because for making the sauces and the salsa, you need more of that kind of plum tomato, generally speaking, because they're firmer. They're easier to cut. They hold up better when they're in a bowl. What do you got going on in that tomato category, young Darian?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure you do. We have our garden. His garden is what, 3 feet by 8 feet.
That's a pretty good sized garden,
And it's a
man.
raised bed. It's
Yeah.
a raised bed. It's actually it's a big container. Right,
That's
it's up
nice.
there high.
Yeah.
So we grow 1 or 2 tomatoes usually. This
Gotcha.
year we've got 1. 2 years ago we planted a grafted tomato,
Okay.
which went out of control.
Wow.
The grafted tomato. Again, I'll say it every time we talk about tomatoes. If I can find them, I'm planting them. You get a heirloom tomato that's disease resistant because it's grafted to a newer stock,
A newer stock, yeah.
a newer root stock, and
Which
it
is the disease resistant
which
part of
gives
it.
it.
Yeah.
Which
right.
gives it that, and it's
Are those much
unbelievable.
more expensive, and are they hard to find? Is what you're saying?
Well, I thought they were hard to find, but then Bell told me that Bachman's, I think, had a ton of them.
Wow.
But when I was there, they didn't, so they must have come in late. And
Okay.
yeah, usually they are because you don't get a little plant. It's a 6-inch plant, $10,
Yeah. Okay.
but you're getting so much more fruit out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you? I mean, here's him. He comes to my house. You didn't weed. There's tomatoes that need to be picked, right? That's the first thing you say to me.
And not even
Yeah.
hey, Poppy, how's it going?
No, it's not even hello.
Yeah.
He doesn't even come in the house first. He goes to the garden first and then tells me what I'm doing wrong. For a little kid, you got pretty wise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, not really.
not really.
But there was work needed to be done, obviously, Darian. So you had to bring it up. You just couldn't let it fall by the wayside. You
No.
had to talk about it. Of
And the
course.
cilantro's for his mom
To make carnitas.
to make
Oh,
carnitas.
nice. That'll work. Yeah.
And
That'll
the
work.
basil's for me and Grandma Phil. You can't have any.
For making the
Why?
making the Italian stuff, right?
Yeah, you can't have it. No, you're
Mm-hmm.
not allowed to have any. And tomatoes, well,
Everything.
everybody's free for all with the tomatoes.
Now, Darian, you mentioned you don't like onions, but when it comes to being a kid, 8 years old, going on 32, what other stuff? What do you like? So I imagine you and Poppy and Grandma Phil and your mom and you go to the farmers market and stuff like that. So when you go there, what do you like to get? Strawberries maybe. I mean, do you like those or what do you like?
Strawberries, corn, carrots.
Oh. Nothing like fresh carrots from the farmers market, right? Oh man,
We
those
just
are
got
so
some
good.
yesterday.
Did ya? Just great, just great. You just like to eat them fresh,
No.
or you like
You
them
know,
cooked
you like
up a little
them cooked?
Yeah. No, I don't like them cooked. I just like the top cut off. But
Oh yeah,
I just
Well,
like them
we
cut
didn't
up.
think you were going to eat, but even though you can eat the top,
yeah.
You can?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you can.
It's a breath freshener. It tastes pretty good.
yeah, it's not bad.
It's a little. It can be a little bitter, but you got to just chew around the bitter. Yeah. What else do you like?
If they have cookies, I want a cookie.
Well, those cookie trees, we have a cookie
They're
plant.
amazing.
We have a cookie plant in the backyard where,
It's planted right next to the chocolate chip bush.
right there.
Good on you, young man.
And
Good
then
on you.
yesterday I tried snap peas. I didn't like them.
You didn't like
Really?
sugar snap peas? I got some home. You got to try them in the house. I got some. I bought some the
My
other
mom
day.
just told me to bite the whole thing.
Yeah.
What if I just pull the top off and eat the inside?
Well, you could do that, but the shell is kind of sweet. But
Mm-hmm.
if that would start you to eat sugar snap peas, we got them at home. We'll break one open and you can eat the pea itself.
That's
It's a
pretty
cool
tasty.
word to say, though, pea, isn't it?
Yeah. When you're 8 years old, anytime you get to say pee, it's kind of cool. Work it into conversation. No, well, I just thought, we're back on the playground for a
there
minute
you
or
go.
two here. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
What else did you do yesterday at the farmer's market?
Walked around, got big, huge flowers.
Didn't you? I saw something you made. Did you make something?
Yeah, I made it was like a paper plate
Yeah.
cut into a flower, and then I sewed the string around it.
It looked pretty good.
Blue and the.
Did you bring it to me?
No, it's in my mom's car.
Well, she's not home. She bolted, man. I heard her singing, saying, "I got no kids this weekend.
4
On
days
the
of
4
mama
days,
freedom.
I got no kid."
Look at me.
Still got a dog, though.
Still,
What
yeah.
you're gonna see is
Right. She
the
said, "I
rear
think I'm
end
going to
of my
take
car."
I'm going to take a kayak with a couple of beers out on the
Yeah, she
river."
said she's gonna take 3 beers and she's gonna rent a kayak and go relax on the river.
Mama Lizzie deserves a little break, and Poppy's getting
I
a little
assume-
Darien action. This is
Oh,
a pretty
no
good
problem.
deal.
And my dad.
And your dad. Right on. Everything's good. So she left your dad behind, too. All I'm seeing are my boys in
We're going-
my
what are we doing
rearview
tomorrow?
mirror.
What are we doing tomorrow?
We're going to the Arboretum for
Nice.
Legos or something. Like the Lego.
They have Legos. We're just going to walk around, look at plants, have some lunch at the Arboretum, hang out.
You know where those Legos come from? Lego tree. They plant them out
Well, I
there.
think it's
There's
a Lego
no such
bush.
thing
Lego
as a
bush?
It's a Lego bush.
What?
There's no such thing as a Lego
How
bush.
do you know there's not? Can you prove that there's not one?
I'll look it up online.
What are you
Go to the
talking-
Google, see?
Go to the Googles.
Go to Googles.
On the electric internets. Gentlemen.
Again?
It's time. We've done another 30 minutes of outstanding conversation on the Lazy Gardener. So get that cocktail/kitchen garden. But of course, being the Lazy Gardeners, we're always looking for ways to be more efficient in our gardening experience.
Smarter.
And bring that expertise of smartness in the garden to you so that there is time indeed. This cocktail narrative is woven firmly into the Lazy Gardener's daily, weekly, monthly, and annual initiatives.
Exactly.
And so get that mint going. Get those strawberries
bomb.
going. Get
Get
that
the
lemon bomb. Get the
blueberries.
verbena in there. Get them going. Get them going. Remember to just plant that stuff close to the back door, as the case would be, the kitchen door, or weave that stuff nearby into your beds, whatever you got, because it's going to look great with all the other plants you got going on.
There you go.
Darian, what a pleasure to have you here, young man. Have an outstanding weekend with your poppy.
Thank you.
And you all have a wonderful, safe, and happy 4th, please.
We'll see you next week.